Welcome to Straight Talk with Reggie. This is the show where you learn, grow, and question quite a lot of things. I actually have a client today who's wanting to ask about a lot of things that might have hindered her progress in life and actually made her question herself, her sense of existence, her abilities. Welcome.
Hi, Reggie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Great, great, great. What's troubling you today?
Oh, so basically, I come from a really strict household, ne? So, like, there's so many rules that you do not know what to do, what is right and what is wrong. So, I find myself doing something, and I know that I've outdone myself, but then I will keep double checking, Huti, is it fine? Did I do right? You know, it's like I'm seeking approval of some sort.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of like causing me like turmoil of some sort, you know.
Mm.
And I'm running dry. I'm running dry. My spirit is like, yo, it's it's triggered.
Normally, with household of such kind, when you're
Mm,
growing up, where in a place where you always criticize, your
mm,
sense of ability in doing right things become diminished. So
okay.
even if you get something right, you're likely to doubt it, and it can actually communicate or show itself in many aspects of your life, where even in your careers or even in your
Mm,
relation with other people, you always checking if things are fine, or are they fine that you did what you did. And that can actually tone you to be that kind of person, that experience alone. But I do think that you
mhm,
have to forgive yourself and actually forgive the experience at home, and start reaffirming and trusting yourself that you can do things right by yourself
mm,
without having to check with the other, and literally reaffirming your sense of ability. I do think it
mm,
can be quite damaged for quite some time, to an extent where you literally don't have a sense of um, positive abilities in you anymore. So be kind
mm,
with
mm,
yourself and forgive the environment. Find an environment that continuously affirms that in you and continuously tells
yes.
you that you are indeed able to do that. But do reflect on things you have achieved thus far.
Mm,
Look at your career. If you've done well, that's a positive. You are able to do that. Look at those little achievements that you did in absence of the people who actually have contributed into you feeling that way about yourself.
yeah.
That you can actually start seeing that you are able to do things without having to check with others. It's just a practice, or it's just an upbringing that went wrong,
Mm,
and we have maybe to forgive the people who were contributing into that because they did not know better, or they didn't do what they were doing with information that was right then.
but you know, I think my annoyance comes from that, is Uguti. We keep saying Uguti, people didn't know better, but I think people know now, but they choose to still follow the same patterns that they were doing in terms of like parenting. And also, it's problematic for you to like challenge certain things, you know. And you know, some individuals, they exhale through vocalizing themselves. So now you have to suppress your emotions in order for you to seem like a respectful child, for example, or a respectful partner. Um, but now you're dying inside. And like, how do you form like healthy coping mechanisms? Like, it's confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when you come from an African family
Yeah.
and you were born at the age your parents were, right? That doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
They're still older than you
Yeah.
with that muchness of years. And they will continuously tell you that
Mm-hmm.
you're my child, right? There is always that authority thing that
Yeah.
they assume in your life. I think this is what a lot of
Okay.
parents do, maybe without knowing that they're contributing
Mm-hmm.
badly in your perception of themselves. But I do think
Mm.
inside them, most African parents are afraid to be caught up in the not knowing of things after they have brought you up to this time, right? They are afraid to
Yeah.
find out that
Yeah.
this they've actually screwed you up potentially. And a lot of the time, I've worked in psychiatric hospitals, you'd find parents coming through
Mm.
and they could not, you can see them fuming or fighting after a session with a psychologist because it's a safe space where
Yeah.
a child had to tell them how she feels about them, right? And
Mm.
most
Mm.
African
Mm.
parents find it very difficult to contain. And I think it's those, there's a say that you can't bend a tree when it's already big. You'll have to break it. These are old habits that will take time amongst African parents
Mm.
to literally diminish or get rid of. So I do think a coping
Yeah.
mechanism thereof is to only seldom be around the parents because you don't want
Mm-hmm.
to feel like you're not existing. Although you are existing, you don't
Yeah.
want to feel like you are unlistened to because it's a tussle of you are a
Yeah.
child, I'm an adult, you're a child, I'm an adult, and all that you want to say is that
Literally.
what you're doing, it's not okay or it's not fair. But they will tell you that I have been doing for
Mm.
the certain amount of years that you have been living
For all
here.
my life.
Why is it that it's not right
Yeah.
today? You're
Yeah.
still alive. Surely this is a method. It's not
Mm.
a formula, but they do think that
But
if it got you here, because they don't know that they cause you damage, because no one has ever told them that.
but now they look at the flesh and they be like, as you said, we've done well, you're still alive. But maybe I'm dead inside, you know? I'm alive as you can see in like flesh, but my inside is rotten. And I feel like many of our parents have broken us, like they have broken us to pieces, and it's only a few people that are taking the initiative to consult like I am now. With some, they carry on, they don't break the chains or the generational curses, and you know it goes on and on and on and on. And maybe that's why it's so hard for us nowadays to have like healthy relationships, to love each other, because we don't know love. We come from brokenness.
Mm, mm. You know, what has been primary with black parents has been to feed you guys before taking care of your emotional needs. That's why they are still struggling today to
Mm,
say, I love you, but they think buying grocery, electricity, and everything, month end, that should be love. So they're confusing responsibility and love. And most of them don't even know
mm,
that a child's confidence for them to be able to obtain maybe the riches you wish for in them, it's actually dependent on how you're treating them as a parent. And I
hmm.
must say that just to quote one of the
Yeah.
confession that was made by a student from Rhodes University, she said that we are now at home during this lockdown, and we are bound to kill ourselves because
Mm-hmm.
our parents don't
Sure.
talk to us. When they talk, they shout.
They're shouting at us. Yeah. They cannot have conversations with us.
When they encourage, they compare.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, that's a painful one for me because I come from a background where I have a young sister, and sometimes I am belittled. Like I am 15 years older than her, but I will hear things as though, I mean, things that go along the lines of Uguti. She's better than me. She's more mature than me. How is a 15-year-old more mature than a 27-year-old? That's an insult, and that comes from a place of favoritism. And I think when siblings are favored at a young age, it can cause resentment. Because for me, on my side, I'm old enough to know that no, she's a child, and it's this man that is toxic, you know. So I'm not gonna hold her hostage for his actions. He's the one that's wrong, you know.
So that's literally how our parents think things are done with
Yeah.
children. From the longest, they've actually been doing the same kind of practice where they will
Mm,
encourage through comparing. And
yeah.
what they don't know is that they're creating this unconscious competition and resentments, which creates sibling rivalry. And
Yeah.
later
Yeah.
you cry as a parent and say, my children are not getting along, but you are the biggest instigator in the whole mess.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it takes someone from outside the family to come and say, listen, this is not how you raise the children.
Yeah.
But they will still fight and say, what do you know? These are my kids. Because there's still that mistaken belief amongst parents that they somehow, because they're responsible for you, they own you. And that's
Mm,
not the case.
mm,
Because
mm.
their responsibility is to facilitate your growth,
Absolutely.
not to dictate your life and
Mm.
your growth. So that's where they get wrong. And that's why a lot of African children still feel guilty and still go back home and provide for parents who has been very horrible to them in life. And they get guilted into doing that because people will say God will punish you if you don't take care of your parents. But listen, be it as it may, if your existence was supposed to be achieved, it was you were going to be born either
Yeah.
through your parents um, meeting together and giving birth to you or the other parents in another family. It was bound to happen. We still have to be
Mm.
respected for our own existence. And we still have to be
True.
respected for our own feelings and needs as adults and literally
True.
dignity, despite how they feel about us as siblings. They owe it to us to protect
Mm.
us from one another and to protect us from their rage as parents.
Yeah.
Most kids get left in the bins. Most kids get abandoned. Most kids.
You just reminded me of the bin incident. So I think I was probably around the age of Aboma 15, 16. Um, so I just forgot the I just forgot the English term for this thing. But you see where it stores like sewage, that thing that stores sewage. What is it called?
Is it a drainage system or the sewage system?
Yeah, that.
Okay.
So it was clogged. There was a fetus, pagat. So it seems like someone did an abortion at home and it flushed. So you just brought something into my memory, and I actually saw it. Like I saw the fetus, and yeah, as you said, like there's children that actually didn't make it in that because of situations like that. They were thrown into the bin. Some couldn't get out. Some were found by dogs.
So literally, that's a rage because being a person is hard, and being a child is hard not only for the child but for the parents because it comes with this person putting everything away to make sure you're fine, to make sure everything goes well. Um, we can be thankful for the
Mm,
upbringing, but we shouldn't tolerate things that goes against what we feel is right for us at a particular age in our life. And we
yeah,
have to respectfully, often we
I
want to
agree.
address it as it happens. I think as an adult, you can call a meeting and tell them how you
Mm,
feel. Remember, that's
yeah,
that's a dignified thing. If you feel you can't be able to do it alone, find an adult who can chair the meeting. And so that in the future, when you decide otherwise about them, they know that you guys had the conversation than actually going around and telling other siblings that, no, your sister just decided to stop coming back. But most people who are stuck in Joburg today or
mm,
who are in Joburg and refusing to go home, it's not that they want to be there. Most people who are in the streets and are street kids, it's because they chose that.
mm,
It's not because they chose that. It's literally because, I mean,
yeah.
if a person chooses the street or chooses to move in with a person they don't know that their family disappointed the
Mm,
worst. So if a person chooses against the family, always know that there is something he couldn't withstand anymore.
something
As
happened.
an African proverb says, that if the village fails to keep its children warm, the children will grow up and burn the village to warm themselves.
Oh, wow, that's powerful.
So that's literally what you see often nowadays.
Yeah, because it does cause a confliction in the heart. I won't lie to you. That people just put you through so much pain, and in times where you really, really need them, and they just walk on top of you. So now it raises questions. Ukuthi, should I really be in support of these people once I make it after them putting me through so
That's
much?
a difficult one to
You know?
conceive. But do know that you're going to be fine. Do know that there's greatness ahead of you.
Mm.
Just do everything that we talked about just for in the meantime purposes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.